U.S. to implement further trade restrictions on China, likely covering up policy loopholes. The Biden administration is set to strengthen its hold on U.S. exports to China, as it is now reported that new policies are being planned to close trade loopholes. Biden administration is eager to maintain dominance over China by further regulating hardware exports. Well, it looks like the U.S.-China trade war is going to heat up now, given that both nations are involved in policy revisions targeted at thwarting each other's exports. With the hype in force, the Biden administration has imposed several restrictions over the past few quarters on exports to China, but despite such measures, Chinese organizations weren't influenced by such policies, mainly due to the presence of loopholes. However, now, SCMP reports that U.S. lawmakers are moving towards patching such workarounds, through a new set of policy revisions. It is stated that new measures will be aimed at controlling the flow of accelerators into China by restricting and regulating exports in order to ensure that the U.S. maintains its superiority in the markets. The new policy involved lawmaking from U.S. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, both considered arch rivals to China's influence. While we are not sure what sort of policy we are looking at, it would likely include a ban on exports to China from nations that the U.S. is permitted to trade with, given that these are the primary sources of trade loopholes. Nations such as India, Malaysia, and Singapore are involved in directly exporting high-end equipment to China through rather shady practices that are technically legal, so that's an area the new U.S. policies could target. Interestingly, China isn't holding back on such decisions by the U.S., given that the nation has already started massive work on promoting in-house production, along with coming up against U.S.-dominant business, such as Nvidia, through antitrust measures. The trade war will undoubtedly ramp up even further, once President-elect Donald Trump takes the office, given that his tariff policy is likely to stir up a wave of trade regulations from both nations.